bosses, welcome to our second episode of Power In Pajamas. I am your co-host, Anyssa Reddix.
And I'm Dr. Angela, and we are here with a special guest, Tasha Turnbull.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me, Anyssa and Dr. Angela. I'm so excited to be here.
Welcome to the ultimate pajama party. Tasha is an author, she's a coach, and she's a fitness trainer. And Tasha, who are you wearing?
I am wearing a line from Target, which is like my favorite store ever.
Oh,
so
Target.
yes, love. I'm in there like at least once a week. So that it's very comfortable. And blue is like my favorite color. Then we got some lines going on. So I like this, the mix of the simple.
Yes.
But like some party on the bottom.
Complex.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Love it.
You know what? There's nothing like some cozy pajamas, but you know what? They also look like you can kind of work around the house, go outside a little bit.
Totally.
So we really have this show, so often as women, as girls, we're running and we lead stressful lives.
Yeah.
So we really thought about, the question of work-life balance. Everyone always asked me, how do you do it all? How do you have work-life balance? And so Anyssa and I were brainstorming, and we were just talking about how, when we are most relaxed, we are in our pajamas.
Yeah.
So we wanted this to be a platform where women and girls can come on and we can just talk, let our hair down, and just really be ourselves and share just an intimate moment, women to women, girls to girls, sharing so others can, benefit.
I love it.
So we have to ask you, what is your favorite pajama memory?
I would say my I was in second grade slumber party. So I didn't have parties regularly. Like my parents, they didn't throw parties for me every time for my birthday. So I came from a family, we kind of struggled with finances and stuff like that. But my second grade, my mom, she let me have a slumber party. And so everybody had to come in their pajamas, like tops and bottoms, Minnie Mouse. Like it was like all the characters, everybody had them on, and we had the best time. Like we had a limbo party. So everybody was like going around and stuff like that. And it was like deep. Like you can't have a slumber party. It's like 4 people. Like no, it was like 10 of my friends.
Yeah,
we were living it. It was the best. It was like to me. And one of my best parties that I've ever had. Like, even though, I'm older now, I still vividly remember having everybody at the house. Of course, the music was playing. We were jamming, and we had on our pajamas. It was the best. It was the best.
You know what? Pajamas brings it out in you,
yes.
really. Right before my birthday this year, the night before my birthday party, my girlfriends, we had a pajama party. And we were dancing, and we went all the way back to ourselves at 18 years old.
Yeah.
It was really a liberating feeling, and no matter what we do in our professional lives, I felt like that took a back seat to the moment of just being girlfriends. And so that was a special, special time for me.
We need it. We need it considering all that we do. So we need that like quiet, intimate, like let down.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Time to time. So I love it.
So Tasha, you are a business owner. Speaking of, being in almost the rat race. So talk to us a little bit about your business.
So I own a company called T2 Fitness. T2 actually stands for my name, Tasha Turnbull. It's not that deep. But I own a fitness studio in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and we do personal training in there. So people come to the studio to do training. I also do online training from the studio. I have boot camps that I put on at the studio, and then people can follow us online while we're doing the boot camps. And I also put on annual community fitness events. So I put on a 5K race yearly. Before then, I would put on like a fitness challenge, and then I do host smaller events, whether it's focused on nutrition, weight loss, and I'm a consultant to a number of different companies in the area. And I do a lot of motivational speaking as well. And then the last thing that I recently came out with was my book called The Last 10 Pounds. And it's always about trying to find different ways to connect with people and let them know you have another chance to make a change in your life with where you are. So with the personal training, some people need that accountability, that structure and guidance, because what they've been doing on their own has been Tricky Leroy.
Right.
And by Tricky Leroy, I mean, it's not working. And sometimes you need to come to a professional. Sometimes you can't do it on your own. And that's kind of smart for you to want someone to assist you. Then we have the boot camps, because people like to be in a big group setting, and they like the atmosphere of doing things in a group. And sometimes they are a little shy to do things in a more intimate, just, less people. So people like boot camps. And then some people like races. Some people like just, seeing you one time and getting information and then trying to implement it in their life. And so I use my journey and my knowledge and experience to help people get to that next level. Get to that next level, because sometimes we're always at this level, and it's very difficult to change, because change is a huge thing for people.
Right.
And so I want to help you to make that change, regardless of the fact that you have a really busy schedule, regardless of the fact that things are really chaotic or hectic, or that you have so many different life stressors going on. You can still make a change for yourself. So that's why T2 Fitness is here.
So as you think about, you've been in business 9 years, right? What would you say your greatest accomplishment has been to date?
I've had a lot of accomplishments. So it's hard to, I guess because you're always in the midst of things. So you think about all the different struggles you got going on. But I have achieved a number of different things, and I think I would say the biggest accomplishment is literally starting it. That's the biggest thing. All these other things that have taken place, it's the fact that I stepped out and opened a brick and mortar business, and things just blossomed from there. And people will become just like a trainer, and then they have their full-time job. So they're doing this on the side, and they don't want to leave the full-time job, because that's the money maker. And how do you establish this, make money, and fulfill your passion and living that out, but still being able to take care of yourself and the business, and having a whole other set of bills now, and just relying on that. And so that was a huge decision for me to make, and just to say that I've been in it for 9 years and it's continuing to blossom is great, because I know a number of people in the fitness industry that are not doing this, or that they have started it and then they scaled back, or they went back to the job, or they're now a car salesman, or something other. Some they might be doing this part-time, but they're doing something else. And so I am grateful that I'm able to live out my dream and impact others and continue to do it. That doesn't mean that every day is just peaches and cream. But it's my biggest accomplishment for me to to step out and then maintain it, which is the same with the book, in terms of me losing weight and then maintaining it for this long. So the people say, that's the biggest thing, is to step out. But what about, year 2, year 5, year 7, like those things, that's much harder to do. And I'm glad I've been able to do it. Thank God.
So what inspired you initially to go down this fitness path?
Me being overweight, me being at a place in which I was uncomfortable with where I was in life, or not even where I was going, but I didn't know what was going on. And so I used to be much heavier, and I used to be very much an introvert, and not speaking up for myself, not liking who I am, how I look, how my legs look, how my skin looks. Like I was not comfortable with who I was, and I associated people who are slim as good people. You are extra fine, extra cute. So if that's the standard, I am the complete opposite. And, excuse me, dealing with that internally and not speaking with people about it, because weight is a very sensitive issue for millions of people in this country. And to be doing this when I'm a teenager and being in college and me trying to figure out who I am in life, and then I'm overweight, it's just like, I mean, this is like the worst thing in the world, you know, how I feel, because you want to be perceived as, you know, good looking or liked by boys, being the best at everything, and I just did not feel like I measured up. And so I, you know, tried a number of different ways to lose weight. Starvation, pills, I'd say that's, you know, shakes, the little thing, like, what's her name? The you know what I'm talking about? Suzanne Summers or something, like that thing. You know, Martin. And, that was just a warm-up. Keep it going. Like, I mean, I did everything to try to, you know, lose weight, and it wasn't working. And I didn't have any big epiphany, like, but I, you know, stepped back and I was like, if I continue on the path now, that I'm going to be like 300 pounds before I turn 30. No one is going to save me. No one is going to save me at all, because I can't speak up for myself. There was no social media around, so all these motivational pictures and posts and these before and after pictures and these in-home workouts, none of that stuff was popping off. So I literally had to pick myself up from the bootstraps. My parents, they couldn't help me because they aren't in the fitness field. All my friends were small. No one could help. They're just genuinely, genetically, you know, small. And there wasn't no support groups or no Facebook groups that I could, you know, look. So I had to look into myself, and I was like, Tasha, if you don't get your little self together, you're going to, you know, your health is going to be impacted. I had high blood pressure. I had some back issues. And
how old were you at the time?
I was like in my early 20s.
Wow.
So 20, 21, 22, like around that age. So I finished college, and also I couldn't find a job. Like, you know, they always tell you, get good grades, go to college. And I thought I was going to have me a nice little townhouse and a Lexus, and I'm going to be straight. And that did not happen. I couldn't find a job, and I was overweight. Like, this is some foolishness, okay? Foolishness. So I had to, you know, think what I'm going to do to get myself out of it. So I went to grad school because the job opportunities I had sucked. So I was like, I need to, you know, get some more, you know, education. I took a year off, so then I went to grad school. And while I was there, I mean, when I finished grad school, I'm still overweight. But I get a job, and while I'm at the job, I'm like, no, this is not it. This is not it. And so I wanted to do business from, you know, when I was in my teens, but I didn't know what that necessarily meant. And I like the aspect about me being able to control my life, control what I do, and have an impact on society, but I didn't know what that was going to be. And so from a combination of me trying to find out who I am and me saying, like, Tasha, you're just gonna have to put one foot in front of the other and change your life. So that meant me researching exercise, me researching, you know, food. What is really, what is the whole purpose of food? So what is that supposed to look like, as opposed to just, you know, eating, you know, lunch and then following up with some chips, and then here comes dinner and following up with some brownies, and, you know, worshiping food, because that's what I was doing, worshiping food. My life was surrounded by food. It makes me feel good. I mean, food tastes good. Don't get twisted, okay? But I looked to food for comfort, support. It was my best friend. And for me starting to understand, food is fuel. Food, that is why food is created. It was created to help us to live, to exist. And along the way, they've added some other stuff to it.
Right.
And they've, glamorized it, made it huge and big. And so now everybody has issues because of it. And they look to it for support, but that wasn't its original purpose. And so I started to learn more about it, and my body started to change, and I started to exercise. And I always have been active, Dr. Angela, but I started to look at it as a way to build my body. And so when I started to do the research and started to put one foot in front of the other, I was like, I like this. Like, some people do not like working out. They don't. And that's okay. That's okay. But I felt it gave me self-confidence. It gave me power in my life that I did not have. When you lift a rep and you keep going, like, I walked out of the gym, I poked my little chest up. I was like, okay, Tasha. Hey, it's a good workout. What is the meme, like, no one, like, that workout sucked, or like, said by no one. It's always good when you get there. You don't want to do it, but when you finish it, it's great.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's like, for me, I look to the gym as an outlet, as, I felt comfortable there. And the thing is, there's like all these guys there. Like, it can be an intimidating place. That's why I've created my studio, to be intimate. But a lot of women I come to, they don't like the gym. It's intimidating. It's like weights there. Like, I didn't care. It was like my sanctuary. And it gave me not just physical strength, but mental strength. And so the more I did it, the more I started to want more out of life, speak up for myself. And so my body started changing. So the results is the weight loss. I found out who I was from doing this. So the more I started doing it, it became a habit. And you get more habits, it creates more discipline in your life.
Yes.
So the discipline helped me to take shape in my body and, raise my head up more. I'm at the gym, I'm just down next to, I'm just checking out the scene and stuff like that. And so when my body starts to change, people are starting to come up to me, like on the street. Do you work out? Do you run track? They start asking me questions about stuff, and I'm like, that's interesting. And so then here comes, oh yeah, Tasha, remember you said you wanted to have a business, 10 years ago. You're like, you want to do a business, and I like working out. Why don't I help people work out?
Yeah.
So that's the longest answer response ever. But that is how the business came about.
So you started with a place of passion.
Yes.
You started the business based on what you enjoyed, and you figured out that there was a need for it, because it's not something that everyone loves off the bat. So you are in the business of motivating others.
Yes.
So how do you name a time where something didn't go well in business, and how did you motivate yourself to keep going?
Okay. So early on, like early on in my journey, this lady, she came to me as a she wanted to do personal training. We did personal training. I think within 2 months, she's like, I'm not losing any weight. And I was like, okay. So I started to, ask her questions about what was going on. And she's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And she was like, I'm not losing weight. And she was very upset about it. And she wanted her money back because she had not lost the weight. Now, this is very early on in my journey. And so, as a business owner, it's a lot of stuff you have to do on your own. So it's not like I have some consultants or some other trainers, or I don't have human resources to talk to about this. I have to deal with this, myself. So this is in my late 20s, and in the end, I gave her money back because she didn't lose weight, and she was like upset with me. And that's the last time I've ever given anybody money back ever. It happened one time, this one time, and I was like, I cried. I was sad because I felt like I didn't help her. Like, she came to me for something and I did not fulfill her needs. And I didn't cry when she was there. When I left, I cried, and then I was crying like, I don't think I'm doing good. Maybe I should not become. This was a bad decision for me to become a business owner, because I really can't, maybe I really can't help people. And yeah, it was very much a teachable moment. And
so how did you get through it?
I remember that I did everything that I said that I was going to do in the agreement. Like, I can't control whether or not someone loses weight in their stomach and keeps their butt. Because that's the main thing people want. Like, all right, I want a flat stomach. I want my butt to be bigger. Take out a little bit of my arms.
Ooh, all of that.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
All of that.
Like,
That sounds great.
And so
you can do that. You just sprinkle some dust and things happen.
Exactly. I had to remember, in your agreement, it doesn't say like it's a guarantee that you're gonna lose 15 pounds. There is never an agreement with trainers, and I think people get a misconception from like social media or things that they see on there, that if you do this in 30 days, you can look like this.
But also, you're only one part of the equation.
Exactly.
They're not living in the studio with you.
Okay, this is an extreme loser. What is that when they take them away
Right.
to Iowa and they, put them in there? And yeah, totally.
So Tasha, when you said you were feeling bad, were you feeling bad because you didn't think that you had the skill in order to live out what you thought was the vision for your life? Or were you upset because she was upset? So what was the emotion you were feeling?
Such a good question. I feel like it was a combination of both. Like, I was upset because she was upset, and it was my fault. And so I internalized that. Like, even though I have to be tough, because people try me all day long, Dr. Angela. They be trying to get out of reps. They don't feel like working out. So I have to motivate people for the whole entire hour, from start to finish.
Right.
And then the next person comes in, and then 4 people come in. And so I have to motivate. And when that happened, I was like, well, maybe I didn't do it right. And so I very much took what she said to heart, as true, as real, and I took it personally. I didn't take it from a business aspect, and so it was definitely hard, especially starting out, to separate business from personal, because I came into this from a personal perspective.
Right.
I didn't just get into this just to make money off of people. I got into it because I felt that I can really reach people, because I've been there. And that's why a lot of people tend to come to me, because I used to be previously a little overweight. I was never a size 2. So I come to it from a personal point. So I took it very personally. I did. But that's a good question. It was both. But I think it was more so because she was upset.
So let me ask you, what does the term girl boss mean to you? So what's a characteristic of a girl boss?
Someone who is resilient. I just hate sometimes using like little random words and stuff. But the resilient part is so, one more time, so severe, because you have to continually reinvent yourself.
That's right.
Yes.
On after a project, because like, you can be off and popping after you achieve this event. You stand on the world, everybody posting pictures, reposting, everybody like, this is the greatest and stuff. And then Monday morning, you got to keep it going. But there's no cheerleaders behind you.
That's right.
Okay? There's like nobody behind you. But you still got to you still got to get it going because you still have to make money to take care of yourself. One project is not going to finance the whole year, you know, and you have to find this type of strength to take it forward to the next level on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then failure comes. Like I even talked about on social media earlier this year how I was putting on a retreat one time. I think I might have told you about that. I putting on a fitness retreat. I rented out this house in the Outer Banks where we will have like first it was going to be like a 5-day retreat. Then I scaled it back to a 3-day retreat. And I thought this was the greatest like idea ever in life. And everybody was just like, oh my gosh, this is so great when I put it out. And little Nissa, nobody, like I had 2 people to register for it. And so, you know, you have to create a website. You got to put out, you know, flyers. I had to rent the house. I got instructors to come out, you know, cooks, a yoga instructor, a Zumba instructor, me. And so I spent maybe like $4,000 up front. And only 2 people registered for it.
Wow.
And so it was like a drastic failure.
Wow.
Especially, you know, in terms of financially, because people be like, oh, you can write this off. Let me tell you, it's not no dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
I don't know who told people that these are still expenses that you have to incur. And then it'll be a line item on your taxes, but you're not going to get that money back dollar for dollar. Like, no, this joint is a loss, LOSS. And so I was like, well, maybe I should not do any more big fitness events. I just need to stay in my little personal training studio and just work that. And I had to bounce back.
That's right.
I had to be resilient. And that happened maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. If I, you know, who's to say if I would have stopped there, that all of these things that have occurred now that would never have occurred if I stopped.
Yeah.
So you got to be resilient.
Yeah. You know, I think it's a lesson for all, you know, those who are young adults, those who are adults, you know, you really cannot lead your life based on compliments or based on criticism. Because people, they fluctuate. Their thoughts fluctuate. Their emotions fluctuate. They really probably thought that the retreat was a great idea. They really did think that. It's the follow through. The average person doesn't have that follow through. And so I agree, tenacity, absolutely. And I think to have the resilience to turn around and learn the lesson from that. So my question to you is, what lesson did you learn from that experience?
Well, I learned that it was a newer type of concept, especially for the area in which we're in. That isn't something that regularly occurs. And so people don't like commitment oftentimes. And so you have to commit to doing things for a couple days. So that's hard. People can't even commit to an hour, okay? So people committing to things that long is can be an issue. And then also in the area where we're in, like some type of retreat, fitness related, is not the norm. So it might look good, but they're like, that's not really off and popping with what I regularly do. So I think that might have worked better maybe in a more metropolitan city as opposed to where I am. And I thought about doing maybe a 1-day retreat type of thing. That might make people feel more comfortable. But I didn't follow through with that. Not to say I won't. But I think I could have scaled it back some more, and maybe people would have liked that. I think that's the main thing.
And that's a powerful lesson. And, you know, this podcast, it's for those who are entrepreneurs, those who are considering being entrepreneurs. And honestly, it's for mothers, daughters, sisters, wives. It's for women. And so the life of this entrepreneur, we all can relate to. And here's what my lesson hearing, Tasha's story is something that we talk about in our 8 C's of success, and that's delving into the details. Sometimes things sound good from the outside, but you really have to do your research. You really have to think about the risk associated with it before we go down a certain track. And what I'm hearing from Tasha is just doing a little research about this market. This market is not the Washington, D.C. market. And there are very special, unique characteristics of this market that there's so much for us to take advantage of as entrepreneurs, as people who just want to enjoy life and do things in this area. But it's very important that we determine what actually will speak to the individuals in this area. So phenomenal lesson that we just take our time, step back, do a little research before we move too far in. That was a $4,000 lesson.
Girl, hello.
But probably very much worth it, because now it's 5 years later. And you probably haven't made that same mistake again. No. Not that we won't make mistakes. We make mistakes. But the thing is, don't make the same mistake.
Right.
And so life is about making mistakes, getting up, learning from it, moving, being stronger and better from there on.
Yes.
So what about our book segment? Time to move into our book segment. And what better book?
Than the last 10.
Than the last 10.
Yes. So some of this you've already told us a little bit about.
Yes.
But as I was reading about your journey and your story, what I really appreciated was your vulnerability. Definitely, if you have not read The Last 10, I would recommend. So what pushed you to go out of your comfort zone? Because you did talk about in the beginning this being one of the hardest things for you. What pushed you to be so honest and be so raw in this book?
Because I feel like transparency is very important for yourself and for other people. For myself, I felt like I needed to let it out. So we talked about before being private, and I am still a private person, but I have a personality that people see like on social media and people come to the studio. Well, I'm private. It's a difference. And I wanted to give people a little bit more transparency into who I am that is talking to you every day, that is helping you to try to find a way to maneuver to get to the other side of reaching your goal despite having all these struggles. And this is talking about my struggles and still how I made it to the other side, because people need to see the journey. And we talked about that a little earlier. I'm tired of seeing the before and after picture.
Right.
I don't care about that. I want to know what you did to get there.
Absolutely.
And so that is why I created The Last 10 Pounds. Everybody leaves that out, the transition, like what you did Tuesday night, what you did Saturday morning when, you had this, life issue going on, and what food choices did you make because some guy acted crazy, or your supervisor is like, popping off at you. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Right. So much in the name. So you lost 90 pounds.
Yes.
So why 10 pounds? Why is The Last 10 Pounds so memorable that it's the name of this book?
Well, The Last 10 One, I always would see people talking about, if I could just lose these last 10 pounds. If I could just... Because you were talking, she was just like, I just want to lose.
From the baby weight 8 years ago.
Okay. It's always like these last 10. And I feel like the last 10 is also a metaphor for people trying again and trying again, like 8,000 times. And they, wanting to get to that, not being afraid to try that 10,000 time.
Right.
So it's not just about the weight. It's about giving yourself that opportunity again, because you failed so many times best, so you're not deserving of it. We have a lot of self-sabotage that goes on too, that maybe I'm not deserving of it, or I gotten to this point, so I just need to be cool with where I got. No, I want to be the best, the top dog, the creme de la creme. And why not? Why can't we get everything that we want in life? As long as it's legal. CJ. Right. Why do I have to see such and such living their best life. And you don't have to be like somebody else, but I want to be my best. I want to live my best. And that's what the last 10 is about. Giving yourself the chance to live that best. So it talks about me getting to live that best. I'm not saying everything is peaches and cream again, but it talks about everything that I did to get out of that, that low self-esteem, that girl, that, that teenager that didn't like who she was, and how I got to where I am now. Like, sometimes, like you said, when you go through the book or people ask you questions about it when I'm speaking, it kind of reminds me and brings up some of those emotions and feelings from where I was. And I just always remember that it is helping so many people. So many people have said it is very relatable, very inspiring, and it's like it's a story. Like you're listening to me talk. It's not like you need to do this, you need to do that. No, it's a conversation.
And that's what I absolutely love. Number one, kudos to you because the flow is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Kudos to you.
It definitely feels like a conversation.
Yeah, it's easy to read. Yeah. It's interesting. So it's not about don't eat this food, do 15 reps of this. it's about the little girl in you actually that grows through this journey.
Yeah.
You're growing as an individual while you're shedding pounds. It's just phenomenal in that way. So chapter 6 spoke to me.
Okay.
So I'll turn.
So page 69. And it's self-talk, self-love.
Yes.
Because so often there's that negative self-talk, which you go on this downward spiral that nothing is good, nothing's ever going to be good.
Right.
But I just want to read a little bit from this, and I'd love for you to elaborate on, like you say, as you go through this, it kind of, you go back to the memory of that time. So talk to us about the place you were in. As I looked back over these 2.5 months prior to stepping on that scale, I knew there was something different going on inside of me. I noticed that I started to talk to myself in an encouraging kind of way. Usually my self-talk would consist of me making sure I did a good job at work or school, keeping up with paying my bills on time, and checking in with friends. I had the same weekly routine that I'd been following for years, but I never really talked to myself about me. Talk to me about you at that point.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's true. You tend to, I didn't like mirrors. I tried to avoid mirrors as much as possible because I did not like, how I looked. And I'm like, but there was still this thing in me like, well, since I'm overweight, I got to make sure to do everything else right. So make sure I had perfect attendance in school, make sure I made the honor roll, make sure I paid my bills so I don't get that $15 late fee. Like I wanted, everything so it was just about them because I wanted to, that big elephant in the room, I danced around it for years. And so I finally got to the point where I was like, Tasha, look at the elephant. It's not so bad. I mean, you can, you're not that you're bad off as you thought. And so, I start to talk to myself. Hey, how you doing? It's cool. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And so I start to check on myself and kind of encourage myself to take care of myself. Because I've taken care of myself, it's just like, just wash it. Make sure you wash, get the armpits, make sure you get the crotch, wash your face. But then I'm like, no, Tasha, you can work out, or you can, be pretty. You can, smile. You have a nice smile. Okay, your skin ain't that, you don't got a whole lot of acne. It's okay. I start to look at the positive stuff that I have going on and not just focus on, the negative of me, being so-called healthy. So I started to like the positives and just even those little bit of, or be okay with them. I'm not saying I liked, But I was like, okay, you're not that bad off. And so that started to become more enhanced once I started to work out. And it's not even like I lost any weight, but I started to work out, and I'm like, you can do this. Tasha, you can go back to the gym. Yep, you can go back tomorrow. And then after that, it became a routine, and I started to put effort into what I look like more. Not saying I was just sloppy, but I'm like, okay, you can put a little bit more effort into it. And then you mentioned about that 14 pounds on the scale. That was like very epic, like times 99, because I had never lost weight ever in life. You always go to the doctor. Every time you go in that joint, you gain 6 pounds. You gained 8 pounds. It was never, because some people are like, oh, I just somehow lost a few pounds when I went in. Never. So I was very scared to go on that scale. But when I went on it, it said I had lost 14 pounds. Like, that was like legit, like 562 pounds.
Okay?
That's
absolutely.
That's a big amount.
When I tell y'all, I knew that I was doing something right.
Yes.
And it's not like I was a size 2 or anything like that. I didn't change my clothes. I wasn't wearing like halter tops and everything like that. But it gave me more confidence in myself. And so that's when I started to feel that I started to talk more to myself, like, you can do this. You know what? You're good. You're great. You're great. You're great. And it started to continue to build up. But I had to do that myself. I had to find that within myself. And that self-talk, that helps me through every single day. I have to say positive things to myself. You can do this. Even though I failed like last night, or I didn't make a good decision, or I wish I would have been a little bit more tactful how I handled this situation, or making a poor food choice. The next day, Tasha, you a G. You can do it. You got a new day.
New opportunity to do it better the second day. And so I love it, Tasha. It sounds like you started seeing the glass half full instead of half empty. You started to notice the things about you that were beautiful. So it sounds like you were falling in love with yourself. And oftentimes we're so focused on falling in love with someone else outside of ourselves. And you began to encourage yourself. So we don't have to wait for the band to start playing. We don't have to wait for the cheerleaders off on the sideline. We can be our own best cheerleader, but we also can sabotage ourselves. And the reality is probably more girls and women walking around sabotaging themselves than encouraging themselves. And so one thing that we want for all the girls out there, all the moms out there, because mothers, we have to be very concerned. I would, Anyssa and I, we're pretty close. So she was a child, and she would see me in the mirror. I'm like, I don't like this on myself, or I don't like this about myself. And so I had to stop and think, what am I putting in her mind as acceptable practices? Unfortunately, I didn't snap out of that immediately. I mean, it was years later. Thank goodness I have another round of kids, so I can do it better the second time. So they benefited, But we have to be concerned as mothers that we see the good in ourselves, because it's so easy to see the good in our children. Can nobody talk about my babies, right? It's so easy for us to see that in our kids, but we don't take the time to see that in ourselves. And what are we perpetuating? The negative self-talk and self-doubt. And I'm sure anyone who's listening, there is something about you that today you can even acknowledge is pretty good. And so we need to lean on our strengths instead of leaning so much on all of the weaknesses that we have. And we do. We're human. We're not perfect. We have weaknesses. So that's going to exist. That's old news, not interesting. What's interesting is the good stuff in us. And so we have to do more promotion of that.
all day, every day.
So, Nessa, am I getting better with positive self-talk?
You are. I would say you're improving.
Oh, yay.
So I'm very happy to see that. Well, if you haven't read The Last 10, like I said, definitely check it out. This is one of the books that we enjoy, and we really, really love books over here. So, Dr. Angela, what is our quote for the week?
Ooh, a quote. Well, speaking of what we were just talking about, the ultimate measure of a man or woman is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Anyone remember who said that? Martin Luther King Jr.
Really?
So as I read that, what does that mean to you in your life, Anyssa?
Well, definitely as a young adult trying to find myself like many of my peers, you find yourself in adversity all the time. And so it really makes you question and start to figure out who you are and what your character is when you're placed in those situations. So I definitely understand that quote and something that I think about constantly. What about you,
Tasha, what's that mean?
It reminds me that and things always get done. Like sometimes when you're in the moment, it looks like death. Like I am going to physically die.
Right.
I am like, but that never happens, and it always works out. So I have to step back and take all the the hypeness, the over dramatization of the situation, because when you break it down into bits, it's not that bad. It's never that bad. Like you're still going to be alive. Your business is still going to be intact. You might have like a little slip or a drip, but come November, you're still going to be killing it. So I always try to take some of the emotion out of the situation and try to think logically about it. And then I always, in terms of, in dealing with, like, let's say clients, there's always a relationship that's established. And so people know at the end of the day, I'm genuine. I really care about you with reaching your goals. And so we can work this out. And then in terms of with projects, I'm not new in the game. I'm not new to this. I'm knowledgeable. I'm an expert. So we are going to, get from A to B. Like that's going to happen. And then if it doesn't work out with this company, I'm not like, this is the end.
Right.
This is not, because sometimes it's not a good fit for either company. Sometimes you may not be able to afford to work with somebody. Sometimes you missed out on an opportunity that you think you should have got. Life goes on. There's something bigger and better for you. The Lord has, it always works out. So when adversity comes, when, I'm put in the fire and stuff like that, sometimes I just had to take out, hose off little pieces of the fire and like try to see the, like I've overcome prior to this, like me losing this weight and maintaining this, I had to remind myself, like, I'm still remember all the accomplishments that you've done before. This is nothing. Remember 3 years ago when such and such happened? You still alive? You got all your legs and fingers and toes?
Absolutely.
Come on. So, yeah.
Well, let's end this with the fun slumber party little game. What is one word that you would leave to your 5-year-old, 10-year-old girl who's out there listening?
Ooh, one word. Let's see. Well, as inspired by your book, the one word I would say is journey. Talking to you today has really helped me reflect, and I hope helped all of our viewers and listeners reflect on as well on not focusing on point A and point B, but really taking in and appreciating the journey that happens in between.
Yes. That's a good one.
What's your word, Tasha?
Persistence. Persistent people are the ones who lose weight. Persistent people are the ones who reach the goals. Persistent people get things done. If it doesn't work out, why do you stop? Just because you fail does not mean you stop. Like the two do not go together. They're mutually exclusive. Next time when you fail, or if you don't make the results that you get don't happen, I need you to try again. I need you to do it on Monday. I need you to do it Thursday night with the next meal. Pick it up again. If the deal doesn't work out with that person, you have other people who are interested in you. Go after that. Just because a win you don't get a win on Sunday, for the game, doesn't mean you don't play next week. I need you to be persistent. I get the people who lose weight, the people who are successful in life, career-wise, in general, are the persistent people. In 2012, in 2013, in 2018, stop failing. Stop starting over. Just stick with it. Even if you don't see the results or the progress with your business, like these people who start up a business and then 9 months later, what happened to us? I don't see no more posts about such. Just because it did not work out, you might need to change a different strategy. You need to have a better foundation, but it doesn't mean that it's a loss for forever. Stay persistent this time. See what happens.
Love that.
My word is start.
Okay.
Just start.
Okay.
Start.
Stop talking about it and start doing something. And so just start. Whatever your goals are, big or small, just start and know that it's not going to work the first time.
Okay.
It's just not. Know that starting, the only way you learn is to start. And it's not failure if it doesn't go exactly as planned. The fact of the matter is, it's all a part of a bigger plan.
Yeah.
So just get started.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Tasha.
joining us for the ultimate slumber party. It's been wonderful. There is power in pulling down our hair, just being free in our pajamas and sharing our story. So thank you, Tasha, for sharing your
where can
story.
they find you, and where can they find the last 10 pounds?
So they can purchase the last 10 pounds on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. If you want to find out more information about training, speaking, boot camps, all the 9, website is myt2fitness.com. That's MY, the letter T, the number 2, fitness. So myt2fitness.com. I'm heavy on Instagram, T2_Tasha, T2_fitness. I'm on Facebook. All of my posts, or most of them, are about trying to help you find ways to live a better life. Check me out. We have some good stuff for you.
All right.
And as always, you can find Dr. Angela at I am Dr. Ange Reddix, Reddix on Instagram. You can find myself on Instagram at Nysnys, NYSNYSSS. You can visit her online at angelareddix.com, and you can learn more about Envision Lead Grow and our movement at envisionleadgrow.org. Thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you next episode.
Bye-bye.
This episode of Power in Pajamas was sponsored by Just Picked Juices, located at 415 North Military Highway, Suite 15 in Norfolk, Virginia. Check out the next episode of Power in Pajamas with real estate mogul Danita Hayes.